So my 83-year-old father is moving from the United States to come and live with me and my two sons here in our little chalet up in the French Alps. He gets here in a little over a week, and it's kind of strange, but I just realized something. I could have avoided this. I mean, when a couple of months ago, he told me that his girlfriend had just been diagnosed with late-stage leukemia, and he was soon going to be all alone on the other side of the world. And when we started to realize that his physical and mental decline likely meant that he wasn't going to be able to live on his own for much longer, I told him, don't worry. When the time comes and when you need it, you'll come and live with us. What I just realized is that I could have said, well, don't worry. When the time comes, I'll help you find a good retirement home on the other side of the world where you are, and everything will be fine. That's a perfectly reasonable response. That's a response that a lot of people give. And I certainly make no judgments about these hard choices that other people have to make. And in all honesty, it's probably where he's going to end up anyway. Not on the other side of the world, but in a retirement home. When I can't care for him myself, or when his care interferes with my ability to care for my two sons, that's probably where this is going. I'm just kind of surprised that I didn't think of it sooner, that was an option. It would have been a lot easier, definitely. And I think I'm probably only realizing it now that was an option, because it's just starting to sink in how hard this may actually be. So far, I've just done all the easy stuff. I bought the mechanical furniture and set up his room, bought the plane tickets and the medical insurance. And not that was easy. A lot of it was a lot of work and it was a pain. But the truth is, the hard part hasn't even started yet. Or I guess, more precisely, the hard part is not knowing how hard the hard part is going to be. And I think that's probably the universal truth of accompanying our parents as they age and inevitably decline, both mentally and physically. So I guess the question I'm really asking myself is, why am I doing this? I know this isn't the case for everybody, but my dad actually has a little bit of money saved up and probably would have been able to afford a retirement home right away. So thankfully for us, this isn't entirely a financial decision, although I know that unfortunately for a lot of people it is. I think really in our situation, the biggest factor is that he's so far away that in our case, it's really kind of all or nothing. I can't just stop by to check on him or bring him groceries or put him in a home and say I'll visit, because I'm on the other side of the world and I won't. The other big factor is that I'm pretty much the only family that he's got that's in any kind of position to be able to help. So here we are. The choice is pretty much being to leave him alone on the other side of the world to fend for himself, or to bring him into our house and take on that responsibility completely, which means moving him halfway around the world from America to France. Luckily, for me anyway, there were two other factors that made the decision easier than it seems. Firstly, my experience having and raising kids has kind of forcibly given me the capacity to care for others that I'm not sure that I had before. At least for me, and I'm only talking for me personally, I think taking full responsibility to care for somebody other than myself was a skill that I had to learn, and I learned it rather late in life. Secondly, I genuinely like hanging out with my dad and having him around. With all the other stuff that's going on, it's important not to lose sight of the fact that I'm looking forward to him getting here, to being able to hang out with him and talk and joke and drink and pretty much just hang out. And even though a lot of the responsibility is going to be on me this time, I'm sure he's still got a little bit of fathering left in him with just the random advice and dad commentary. And it's another reality of still having our parents around, that as long as they're here, I'm still not quite completely on my own. I heard this quote, another inspirational quote that YouTube threw at me, that, what was it? There comes a time in every boy's life that he realizes that nobody's coming to save him. And it's just another, masculinity quote from YouTube. But basically, as long as my parents are still around, regardless of who's taking care of who, in a way, there's still somebody who's coming to save me. And you're not quite to the point where it's all on you, at least psychologically. And I think that's something we forget a lot of times, is as our parents get older, they may not be taking care of us in the way that they used to, but the psychological effect of having that support is still enormous. And I'm still looking forward to it. Not only that, but I also think it'll be good for my kids to have grandpa around, obviously, and for them to help in some small ways when that's needed, and maybe learning a little bit sooner than I did the importance of taking care of the people in our lives. Now, since I'm so far away from what my dad is living actually right now, I can't really know how he's doing. And so I really appreciated getting to talk to my uncle, who just recently went to visit my dad before the move, ostensibly to say goodbye to his big brother. I asked him if my dad was in good enough shape to live with us comfortably and safely, or if he really needed to go directly into a home. And he gave me a little bit of perspective that seems about right. He said, even if your dad only spends 2 weeks with you, it'll probably be some of his best and last memories. And that kind of goes for us too, me and the boys. Whatever this turns out to be, it'll probably be some of our best and last memories with my dad. This is the first video that I'm making about this, so we'll see by the reception that it gets, or the views or whatever, if people are interested in this story. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to make a video about the administrative and logistical problems and preparations that we had to make to get him over, because it was a whole another thing. I generally make videos about a bunch of different topics, so I'll put the next video on this series up here in the corner, so you can go straight there if that's what you're interested in seeing next. Or you can, probably over here, subscribe to my channel and you'll get to see all the different stuff that I do. As ever, thanks for stopping by.